When adding Edpuzzle assignments into Schoology, you first have to set up your integration between Schoology and Edpuzzle. You'll see in the left margin of Schoology that you have the word Edpuzzle listed at the bottom of the margin. That's because as a district we've already pushed out and we've integrated Edpuzzle into the district's Schoology account, but each teacher also has to do a little bit of setup as well. When you click on Edpuzzle, this happens to be a class that I've not set up my integration yet, so I just wanted you to be able to see how this happens. All you really need to do is you just type in a description. So this happens to be my first grade class, and I pick a grade level. Now obviously I already have a Edpuzzle account that I've created, okay, but it's as simple as filling in those 3 boxes and hitting create class, and it's done. Okay, I have no assignments in here, but any member of my class would show up in this list, and any assignments that I end up adding would show up here. So I'm over in my student account here, and I wanted you to be able to see what it looks like again from the student view before we look at how we get this in there from a teacher side. I have them added in here twice because I'm going to show you kind of if you make an error what it looks like, but I'm going to jump to the second one so you can see what the correct format is first. So when the student clicks on it, they may be prompted to sign in with their Google account. It would show up right on this page. They shouldn't have to go out into another tab or anything like that. The Edpuzzle video is embedded right here. They can watch and they'll be prompted to answer all the questions right from within the Schoology page. Okay. If I go back into my folder, when teachers add it and they forget one key step, this is what it will look like for students. Okay, so I just wanted you to see that because we're going to talk about how to fix that when we jump over to the teacher side. So just kind of make a mental note of what that screen looks like. You can see that it actually gives you step-by-step instructions right there of what we need to do in order to fix it, but I just wanted you to have that in your mind so that you would recognize that if your students ever see that message. Okay. So we're going to jump back over to our teacher side. And again, these are the 2 that I had created that we were just looking at over on the student side. When we add them, and again, I'm going to just kind of add from scratch. So if I hover over any of my horizontal lines, it's going to add something in that location on the page. All right, so since I want this to pop up on the top, I'm going to click on that horizontal line at the top. If I use the Add Materials option, it's going to put it at the very bottom, and I will need to reorganize everything. Depending on how many things you have on the page, it may not matter. But if I click on the line, I'm going to select here now Edpuzzle. Now remember, I already had to go over here on the left-hand side and click on Edpuzzle and create that class just by naming it, giving it a grade level, and giving it a subject. But now I can click on Edpuzzle, and what it's going to do, you may be prompted in here to, again, sign into your Google account, much like I had mentioned that the students would have to do, but that should all be very quick and easy. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and pick one of my Edpuzzles that I've selected. Notice that it does offer to open it in Edpuzzle if you needed to see any details about it or anything of that sort, but I'm just going to go ahead and hit next, and I can go ahead and create this here. It lets me do a few minor things like preventing skipping, turning on closed captioning, etc. I'm just going to go ahead and click assign, and as simple as that, it's going to be added in for my students. So this is the one that I just added in. Okay, now I'm going to switch over to my student view because I want you to see, as I mentioned, let's go back to our Tuesday folder, which should be refreshing it. Here's the new one that we just added. When my student clicks on it, they get that error message that we talked about. Because, and I don't really like this, but unfortunately it's just kind of one of those things that we are going to just work with. Once you add it in here as an assignment, you then are going to click on the settings gear and you're going to edit it in order to have it be available to students if there's questions embedded within the video, and if you want to be able to see how they're doing on it, you have to edit it and you have to check this box to enable grading. And that's what that message was that we saw on the student side. If you paused and took a moment to read through that message, that's what it was telling you, is that we need to enable grading in order for it to be available for the students. I don't really want to worry about points. You do have to put it in a category, so you can use the ungraded category if it's not something that you want to have populate into the Schoology gradebook. That's completely up to you. And then when I hit Save Changes, that one little change, now if I come back and refresh this page as a student, I now will have that video available to me. Okay, so that's the one that we just added in. So just making sure the key with this one is that we are going to make sure that once you actually add the Edpuzzle assignment, okay, when you add it in, you then also have to click on the settings gear, go to the edit option, and enable grading for it. Okay, so short and sweet, but that's how to get your Edpuzzles into Schoology for your students.